in behind the Thunderbird. This was a little docile, 220 horsepower, 2 plates, open cockpit, primary transfer. I will tell you this, that John does the slow roll on takeoff. Don't keep your eyes out here, because right after that slow roll, he's going to execute the snap roll. All right, now let me tell you about this man. This man, John Mohr, is flying this airplane like nobody else in the world does. Folks, that is not a boast, that is a fact. Air show pilots at any given air show will stop what they're doing and watch this man fly this stock version of this airplane like nobody in the world can or does. So we're watching John do a little repositioning, Jerry. We'll tell you that 2 weeks ago yesterday, in Minneapolis, this young man was inducted into the Minnesota Aviation Hall of Fame. He was the youngest, if not one of the youngest individuals to ever be inducted. It was an amazing ceremony, and he deserves and watch for him to lift up the nose. He will execute what we call that Cuban 8. Now, I explained that to you. It's the figure 8 laying on its side. So the left side of the figure 8 is the first. He will right side up position. He will execute what we call 5/8 of a loop. He'll recover on the 45-degree down line. He will roll right side up without the wind. You will see the figure 8 there. The first aerobatic maneuver ever invented and executed by Lincoln Beatty in 1913. The big inside or barnstormer group. They call that the loop-de-loop. And then without hesitation, a World War II coordination maneuver known as the barrel roll, where you use all of the controls. You change direction, change altitude, change speed, and fly the airplane upside down. Here comes Randy Ball in the MiG-17 on the ground. Give him a big round of applause, if you will. Randy Ball on the ground with the MiG-17. John Mohr, the award-winning John Mohr, is now coming in on his repositioned turn. And watch for him to lift up the nose and stop the airplane 4 distinct times. 1, 2 upside down. Number 3 on the left plate, and number 4 back to the right side of position. Now, as John turns around off to your right, I will also tell you he is the recipient of the Bill Barber Award for Showmanship, given to one pilot or one team only one time a year at the world's largest aviation celebration known as October. Now, as he comes back in, he's going to double the difficulty factor. He's going to stop the airplane 8 times. As we count 2, there's 3, halfway through 4, there's 5, there's 6, there's 7, and there is number 8. Now, another repositioning turn off to the left of the area. Some of these turns will be called the hammerhead turn, used by crop dusters and power line control pilots until it got too dangerous. Now, you know, when you get a good play on TV on sports, the sportscasters allow you to see it in slow motion. But John's going to do that for us very quickly. He's going to start what we call the slow motion roll. Just barely rolling, rolling the airplane. And John and I are happy to call this maneuver the gotcha. Gotcha, we hooked you that time. That was all delivered by John Mohr, a little bit of theatrics. Yeah, you liked it? Did you like it? Yeah, you can applaud. All right. After that bit of fun, John's going to do a variation of that Cuban 8 maneuver that you saw him do earlier. This is called the reverse Cuban 8. Instead of diving and drawing out your loop from the bottom, you actually draw the loop out from the top. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, watch the smoke will go on. You'll execute a 60-degree angle of fire. Then he'll roll the aircraft with 2 points upside down. He'll climb, get the last foot of altitude, drawing it from the top. Do you see what I mean? All right, now from the top, the left side of the 8 is complete. He's going to have to do that again. in relation to the rises. 2 points upside down. Hold the steers at the last foot of altitude. Back comes the control stick. Arch steers back around. He's going to get that. John Mohr in the reverse Q&A. Now watch as John now sends up more of Moss in the sky. This is the square loop. Straight down. As the earth comes up to meet him, pull back on that stick. John is too low. Head flat across the bottom. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John Mohr at the square loop. More about John. I told you about him being the recipient of the Bill Barber Award for Showmanship. Well, he is also the recipient of the Art Show Showmanship Memorial Award, given at our Winter Black Tie Convention in Las Vegas to one team or one individual one time a year. I want you to look back up to that red, white, striped rudder. Watch that rudder. I'll show you what the rudder does in a hammerhead turn, or what the Brits call the vertical reverse. Well, we have seen the round loop. We have seen the Cuban H. We have seen the very difficult square loop. Now, as you and I drive around the Virginia highway, and we pay attention to traffic and honor the laws, we come upon a stop sign. You know that every stop sign has 8 sides, an octagon. Watch now as John Mohr draws that octagon. There's one angle, there's 2, the third angle, flat across the top is 4, there's 5, there's 6, there's 7 on an angle, one more at the bottom, and we say stop. Well, for John Mohr. All right, now John's going to climb for a little bit of what we call insurance. And when any pilot does that, you get ready for the spectacular. You're going to get about 1,000 feet of altitude and set up for a series of maneuvers that you don't get a chance to see in a lot of air shows. Now remember, no modifications to this airplane. Bought by John in 1976, rebuilt by him, 3rd generation barnstormer. His dad operated a seaplane base. He taught himself how to fly a helicopter that he built by cabling it to a stump so it wouldn't get away from him, and then teaching himself how to fly. When John executed his acceptance speech 2 weeks ago yesterday, Hall of Fame, he said, you know, every air show pilot needs an angel, and my angel is my wife and business partner, Lynn. So this is a tribute to Lynn Mohr. We call that Berlin Shabbat. All right, now it gets exciting. Double snap roll dedicated to the left. Now watch this. This will be the tail slide. It gets quiet overhead. The power comes back. Back on the tail, in the tail slide, disappearing in its smoke. Now, into the Tommy tailspin. Thought to take many a pilot to an early, flaming grave. Successfully completed by the first pilot, Eddie Stinson, who found, don't fight the airplane, get the airplane, all that it wants, hook the yoke or the stick towards the ground, and you will be flying again. And in a lot of ways, it is a lesson on life. Don't fight it. Go with the flow. And that is the lesson of the spin. Now, folks, if you grew up in the Midwest, you know in the fall, the oak leaves and the maple leaves come off the trees, very colorful, and they make their way down to the ground. This is the John Mohr falling leaf. Brother, here. He's coming down to the ground, and John Mohr recovers in that signature maneuver. Give John Mohr a big round of applause for that very graceful maneuver. The falling leaf. Not too many months ago, in that great aviation publication, the Smithsonian Air and Space magazine, there was a feature article about this pilot by air show pilot and author Debbie Gary, denoting his uniqueness in being the only man in the world that can make this type of airplane dance like this week after week after week. This is John Mohr as he rolls the airplane around. Watch his hands as they come out of the cockpit, and this is what we did when we were kids, look, Ma, no hands, and that engine quits again, and then gravity puts fuel back into the engine. John Mohr lays the wheels down on the grass. Well, things are fun. Maneuvers are fun in the air, but they're daring on the ground. John Mohr has such a command of this airplane. Get ready to have your breath taken away. Watch the wing and the tail as they get ready to do what we call the grass cutter. Watch the space between the wingtip and the ground, the wingtip and the tail, as any tall grass is being clipped by John Mohr. We call that the delicate balancing act. That in itself will take the breath away. A big round of applause for Mr. Mohr, the award-winning John Mohr, one of the newest inductees into the Minnesota Aviation Hall of Fame. What a guy. Here a little bit more of the balancing act. Now look at the bottom of the wing. Lower and lower. Why he never gets green stain on that wing, I'll never know. He knows exactly the centimeter where the wingtip is above the grass. If there was tall grass, he would have clipped it for the airport personnel. We would like to thank the City of Hampton for their help and assistance. We'd like to thank all emergency teams, including fire, police, and medical, for their outstanding help this weekend. Thank you to the entire Air Show Committee and to the Air Show volunteers for their help. John Mohr, now do you think he's going to land conventionally? Now he's upside down. How can you land from here? You know, the tower operator says, John, Mr. Mohr, you're upside down. John says, no problem, I'll be fine. Well, now you're pretty fast. Are you going to be able to land? John said, I'll be fine. I just got to unwind this thing. And about this time, the tower operator says, man, I picked a bad day to quit sniffing glue. From the movie Airplane by Lloyd Bridges. That's quote. And do you think an airplane of that vintage, with a man of his talent, is going to land on the concrete? No. This airplane grew up in a sod field environment. John and his true barnstorming roots, following the footsteps of his grandfather and his father, always lands on the grass, for which the airplane is very comfortable. All right, John Mohr with a little magical act. Now you see him, now you don't. Thank you to the NASA for their participation and support. We love NASA. And thank you to the hundreds of men and women, either in uniform or employed by Langley Air Force Base and Air Combat Command, working each day to make this a clean, safe, and entertaining event. Regardless of their job, it is an important mission. Let's show them our appreciation. Thank you to all the volunteers. Thank you to all of the hardworking people in the execution of this show. It is clearly a one-year event. All right, with the engine running, John's going to get out and get on stage. Give him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The newest inductee into the Minnesota Aviation Hall of Fame, the recipient of the Bill Barber Award for Showmanship, the recipient of the Art Show Memorial Showmanship Award, that is the incomparable John Mohr.